All right, today we are tackling one of the biggest, most complex challenges of our time, climate change. But we're not just going to focus on the doom and gloom. Nope, we're going to dive into the incredible ways that technology is actually giving us the tools to fight back.
And to really get a sense of the urgency here, let's just start with this quote from our source material: "Our planet is screaming." I mean, from wildfires to floods, the signs are pretty much impossible to ignore now. So, to see how tech can help, we first got to understand what we're really up against. So, before we jump into the really cool solutions, it is absolutely crucial that we're all on the same page about the problem itself. Let's break down the fundamentals of what's happening to our home.
So let's be clear. What exactly is climate change? It's really not about whether it's rainy or sunny on a particular Tuesday. No, it's about these massive, long-term shifts in the average weather patterns of our entire planet. We're talking changes over decades that are throwing Earth's natural systems completely out of whack.
The science behind all this is actually something you've probably heard of: the greenhouse effect. Now, this is a natural process. It's essential for life. The problem is, human activity, mostly burning fossil fuels, is pumping way too many extra greenhouse gases into the air. The best analogy is that it's like we're taking Earth's natural cozy blanket and just making it thicker and thicker, trapping way, way too much heat.
And the result of that thicker blanket? Well, it's this number. The planet's average temperature has already shot up by at least 1.1 degrees Celsius since we started burning fossil fuels on a massive scale. And to put that into perspective, the last 10 years have been the warmest in all of recorded history. The trend is crystal clear, and honestly, it's speeding up.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. 1.1 degrees? It doesn't sound like a whole lot, right? But what we're learning is that even a small increase like this sets off a huge global chain reaction with some pretty serious consequences.
And you can see just how fast things are moving right here. You have that long, steady rise since the 1880s, but then, boom. Look at late 2023. For the first time ever, we actually blew past the 2-degree mark for a short time. And now, 2024 is officially the hottest year on record, bringing us scarily close to that 1.5-degree limit that scientists have been warning us about.
So, what does this warming actually look like in the real world? Well, it's like a line of dominoes. More heat means more extreme weather. Yep, the intense heat waves, the shocking floods, the terrible droughts we're all seeing on the news. That heat also melts ice, which makes sea levels rise. All of this puts a massive strain on our ecosystems, which in turn threatens our food, our water, and even our global security.
And if you want to put a number on that, just look at this. 18 million hectares, an area about the size of Syria, by the way, burned down in Canada's 2023 wildfire season. This isn't some abstract problem for the future. This is right here, right now.
Okay, so we can see the effects all around us. But what's really driving all this? Let's peel back the layers and look at the main sources of the emissions that are fueling this whole crisis. When you break it down, one thing just jumps right out. A whopping 65% of all these greenhouse gases come from burning fossil fuels for energy and transportation. Of course, deforestation and agriculture are a big piece of the puzzle too, but it's pretty clear that our energy, food, and land systems are right at the heart of the problem.
All right, I know that was a lot to take in, and it can feel pretty heavy. But this is the point in our story where things pivot. We're going to shift gears and look at the other side of this coin, how technology is stepping up to be our most powerful ally in this fight. The challenge is, without a doubt, immense. So that brings us to the most important question of all. What can we actually do about it, and how can technology give us a fighting chance?
Well, technology is helping us in 4 really distinct ways, which gives us a great roadmap. First, we use it to monitor the problem, to see it clearly. Second, we use it to mitigate emissions, which basically means stopping them at the source. Third, to remove the pollution that's already floating around up there. And fourth, to adapt to the changes that we unfortunately can't avoid anymore.
So let's start with monitoring, because you can't fix what you can't measure, right? This is just incredible. AI can now process satellite data 10,000 times faster than a human ever could. This means we can track things like deforestation almost in real time. We even have companies like Carbon Mapper that can pinpoint massive methane leaks from space.
Next up is mitigation, and a perfect example of this is our power grid. We're moving away from that old clunky one-way grid to a new AI-powered smart grid, and this is a total game changer. It can predict when we'll need power, it can smoothly blend in renewables like wind and solar, and it can even prevent blackouts.
It makes clean energy reliable.
And mitigation isn't just about big power plants. It's happening in our fields, too. Get this, in India, AI helped farmers get 30% more crops just by giving them super precise info on when to plant and exactly how much water or fertilizer to use. Think about that. Less waste, lower emissions, and more food. That's a huge win.
Okay, so what about all that carbon that's already in the air? How do we get rid of it? Well, there are basically two major paths to remove it. On one side, you have nature-based solutions, planting tons of trees, restoring wetlands, and on the other, you have amazing technology like direct air capture, which is basically giant machines that literally act like vacuums for CO2.
And let me be clear, this is not science fiction. This is happening right now. Companies like Climeworks are already running plants in Iceland that are capturing thousands of tons of carbon dioxide every single year and locking it away for good, deep underground.
And finally, we have to talk about adaptation. Because some climate impacts are already here to stay. We need to be better prepared. And just look at this number. AI can now help us predict major storms, like tropical cyclones, with up to 99% accuracy. That little bit of extra warning time is absolutely critical. It saves lives, plain and simple.
So we've seen the crisis, but we've also seen this incredible toolkit that technology is giving us. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important part. Forging a resilient future is a collective fight.
Because here's the reality. Technology is not a silver bullet. It's an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it's a tool that has to be put to use by all of us. This is a fight that involves everyone in the choices we make every day, from reducing what we consume to advocating for bigger changes, to simply sharing what we learn with others.
And that really brings us to our final question. The technology is here. The tools are literally in our hands, and they're getting better every single day. So the question really isn't about whether we can do it anymore. It's about whether we will. Do we have the collective will to use these incredible tools in time?